Hello, my name is Tim Eilers. I'm the fitness coordinator here at Grand Living at Bridgewater. And today, as we're spending a little bit more time in our apartments or in our homes, I wanted to go over some different ways that we can modify our homes to make sure that we're eliminating the risk for falls. Obviously, we can't guarantee that we won't have any falls in our home, but we're going to go over a handful of different things that we can look at modifying to make our home as safe of a place as it can be. So, one thing that we want to avoid is we're going to have cords that go through our home. If we have cords running across walkways like this, that creates a natural trip hazard for us. If we're at all possible, we want to make sure our phones and our electronics, our cords, are not running across any open walkways that we would normally use. Another thing that we can do to make sure you're avoiding putting yourself in situations where it's more likely that you will fall is storing stuff in a place that's easy for you to reach. So something that you would use often, you'd want to store somewhere like in here. Here on good posture without challenging my body in any extreme way I can access. If I wanted to reach for something and if I had a spare room that I needed someone to have these pillows in, I have to reach up on my tippy toes to grab these here. It's going to put me at a lot higher risk for falls if I'm up on my toes, if I'm reaching, putting myself in more precarious positions. So storing stuff in a position that allows us to be in a safe position ourselves. So as I'm not cleaning that up yet, another really important thing, we all like to keep a clean apartment. On top of that, not just keeping a clean apartment, is there safety issues. Now, as I walk across this ground, if there's anything that's a different texture than the bottom of that ground, when I step on it, it's going to allow me to slide. So if this nail just gently fell off the side of there and I didn't immediately pick it up and I didn't think about it, that's a danger in my immediate walking path. So we always want to make sure we pick up after ourselves. Another hazard is anytime we create something that's a different level in the floor. So you can even see here, like as there's a little lip right here, it's just something to be aware of. Some people will actually even use tape to mark those, like a glow-in-the-dark tape, which is also a great idea if you're waking up in the middle of the night and have to go to the restroom. We can put glow-in-the-dark tape onto things like our light switches or onto your door. That way you can have kind of a guide if you're getting up in the middle of the night. So another thing that we want to avoid on the note of lips is rugs as a whole. Now, a lot of people think about rugs as a safe place because it doesn't have the sliding that you would feel kind of on this hardwood floor here. But the reality is it gets harder and harder for us to pick our toes up and actively think about that. So any kind of elevation, slight elevation, gives us the opportunity to catch our toe and slip and potentially put us in a position where we could potentially fall. Remember, it's also important to clean up any spills, especially if you spill any grease or food on the ground. You want to clean that up right away because it's easy to forget about it and you could slip on that later as well. So that's just another key note I wanted to put in there. So in closing, some other things that we can do just to make sure we're reducing our risk for falls outside of just taking away some risk factors in our apartment. Make sure we're drinking enough water. That can be variable from person to person. Generally speaking, we usually could increase more water. Talk to your fitness coordinator or physician before you develop a plan to add in more water. Another thing is making sure you have adequate nutrients. As we age, our taste buds are diminished slightly, our appetite gets diminished slightly, and oftentimes that creates really a lack of getting enough nutrients for seniors. And if your body isn't getting enough nutrients to function at its best capacity, it just can put it at risk again to be potentially a little bit weaker, more susceptible to falls. Another huge one is physical activity, making sure your muscles are strong. Physical activity through exercise, and physical activity just through your daily activities, making sure that you're able to do the things that you want to do. And if that's something that you need help with, if there's things that you're struggling with right now that put you in a position where you don't feel comfortable, please come see one of our fitness coordinators, and we'll make sure that we can sit down and try and address that problem with you and get you working towards being a safer, more independent, stronger individual.